out with all of you, and at least for a little while. So let's see. Bespin Bulletin says Acolyte started filming last week. There is no director, as I've seen, attached to it, unless Weinstein's former personal assistant is directing it herself, and she has directed before. But then there's another one saying it's not filming yet, and I can't remember. I think this was WDW Pro saying it. Hi, just some other guy. What's up? So it's November 2nd, and there's, you know, um, Disney's earnings call is on election day. Get your asses out, vote red. Okay. Hey, Cross Element. I am an independent, unaffiliated voter here in Pennsylvania, but I consider myself a libertarian populist, which would put me dead center in the MAGA camp. I am definitely going to vote GOP straight down the line. Our representatives are great in my area. Our house, our state house rep is great. Our senator's great. I think it's Doug Mastriano, actually. I'm voting for Dr. Oz. I'm voting for Doug Mastriano. I expect a high Republican turnout. So anyway, but here's the deal. Disney's earnings call is that day. How are you going to hide bad news? Have it on a big news day. Now tonight, apparently, Joe Biden is making some impromptu speech to Congress, and I'm kind of nervous about it. There are rumors that we have troops on the ground in Ukraine, this could be an October surprise. I mean, look, those motherfuckers using our military for political points is not above them, okay? So we'll have to see. I don't know. Maybe he's gonna say something else. I don't know, but I'm kind of nervous about it. I haven't seen anything, but let's go back to Disney. So what can we expect? The parks are doing well. ESPN, of course, Hulu, everything. Disney Plus is not doing as good as it should be. We'll see what they say about the subscribers. But again, Marvel and Star Wars are not producing. And I don't know how much Bob Chapek is going to dive into it. Do not expect Chapek to say anything about Kennedy. Don't. This is neither the time nor the place to say she's leaving or that they're laying people off at Lucasfilm. That is something for later. Okay, that is something for later. Okay, and it's going to be very interesting afterwards what happens. Look, when you've got people, oh, and by the way, Matt Bellany liked a tweet I sent him. When you've got people on the inside of the industry that are part of this conglomerate machine, telling Kamran, emergency meeting at Lucasfilm, it looks like the purge is finally happening, dead silence. They're basically saying the same thing to Matt Bellany and others, and there's stuff I haven't been told that I know people out there know, okay? I mean, there's stuff that they're holding back because they either don't feel comfortable sharing it, or they're not allowed to share it yet, or they don't know if they believe it. Hey, Planet Musk vlog. And I can name you the people that know shit. I know they know as much as me or more. Okay. But don't expect anything. Now, the October 31st deadline came and went. My bad. But this still doesn't mean that we're not going to get some sort of closure on stuff, whatever's going on at Lucasfilm. Okay. I'd forgotten the earnings call. I thought the earnings call would be actually in December. It's not, because that's in the middle of the first quarter. And that first quarter earnings call won't be until that one won't be until like January or February. But suffice it to say, it's going to probably look bleak in some places for Disney. We've heard rumors that they're going to race swap X-Men. I don't know. That it sounds like a Victoria Alonso, Kevin Feige stupid thing. I didn't watch all of Valiant's. Yeah, I did. I forgot about the earnings call. All right, so that was something that I should have remembered. But again, look at everything leading up to right now. All right, look at all the sirens going off for Cameron and that Park Place and Matt Bellany and others. Okay, there are people out there that probably have videos ready to drop when The Purge becomes reality. And look, I'm going to tell you something. If this is all true and it's right, and look at what's going on at Warner Brothers, look at what's going on at CW, look at what's going on at Paramount Plus, they're restructuring Paramount. Despite Top Gun Maverick, all right, despite Yellowstone and its success in 1883 and the soon to arrive to streaming and Paramount Plus 1923, okay, with the huge casts they have, okay. So the idea that a purge and layoffs happening at Lucasfilm and other places at Disney should not surprise anybody. This is what happens when you got the economy contracting, we're in a recession, inflation's crazy. Also, they're not delivering what they promised to deliver. My earlier video upload today was about why they failed. And when Bellany put that out there, that one of the people that responded to his statements about, well, it's not that it wasn't true. It was, the timing was off. Okay. It's all about timing. All right. The thing I hate about this is that if something doesn't happen on a specific date, people on YouTube freak out and say, well, you were wrong. It wasn't true. It was the timing. It's not that it's not true. It's the timing. And I was wrong about the timing. But everything else, let me go back to what I was saying about what Bellany said. A producer from Lucasfilm sent him a message saying, all the stuff that happened with the sequels and Solo was her fault. I don't care what anyone says. That was her fucking fault. So was Rogue One. Okay. The sequels were Iger's fault. Him and his stupid timeline. Him and his stupid due date. What are you, a fucking teacher? What are you, a fucking editor in a magazine or a newspaper? Fuck you. And he's partially right. But still, Kennedy should have said these are not manageable timelines. We're not talking about Marvel where you can just throw some shit together and people go, we're talking about Star Wars. A little bit deeper of a property, a little bit delicate to handle, a little bit, you have to be wiser with this. And Iger was too impatient. Kennedy was too weak to stand up to him. And, I kind of go back and forth. Is she the raging Kathy Hochul type harpy freak? God, that bitch. Kathy Hochul, holy shit. I am so glad I don't live in New York. That woman is a foul, foul human being. And so is Gretchen Whitmer. I mean, and they look alike. They look like frickin' Hocus Pocus 3. Gah, bitches. Um, yeah, and you're right, Cross Element. Um, so I don't think she's a raging harpy, and I'm talking about Kennedy. I also don't think, in some circumstances, she's basically just you can a step and fetch it. I think in her element where she's bossing people around, she gathers people who are an echo chamber, and they reflect her back at her. Okay, I mean, look at the picture with all those women, those psychotic activist women. I'd be running to find the men. Okay, first off, I don't believe in sisterhood. It doesn't exist. Right? It doesn't exist. You look at all the women who do YouTube. Room is great. Lorena is great. But the rest of them, I wouldn't have spent, I mean, it's all, look, women are just as competitive for attention and men and things like that as men are. Okay, we just go about it wrong, the different way. So if you think, when you look at that picture of Kennedy sitting there surrounded by all of her so-called story group and creatives, part of it was a story group and part of it wasn't. You're kind of like, none of these people are fit to do this job. But they agree with her completely. They reflect her to her, back at her. They're her mirror. And they're hey, the Empress's new clothes are awesome. Okay. And it looks now that she's stepping back from that. I think Michelle Ridgewine was thrown under the bus. Now, but this is my theory on her. If you all remembered, the story is Jon Favreau threw out, I'd say half the filming of Boba Fett was in Atlanta, probably helping fix Ms. Marvel, which was broken. And it's very interesting to me that while he was gone, it appears someone got involved with what Robert Rodriguez was doing. First off, without Favreau there, Rodriguez went absolutely nuts and didn't. I think if Star Wars bit Robert Rodriguez in the ass, he wouldn't know what it was. I mean, it's like, look, dude, and the part about it that I didn't like were the Vespas. In the end, I mean, it was so anticlimactic. Yeah, what diversity chart? I've look. There's like the High Republic whiteboard we saw, and which was just nothing but a fucking troll. They put all this shit up there and then took a picture with looks on their faces. If there's a diversity chart, I didn't listen to the whole video. I don't really think when the changes come to Lucasfilm that we're gonna see. Oh, I didn't watch the whole thing, C-Man. We're not gonna see as much of that as people think. Look, we're running on rumors and stories that are probably about 2 or 3 weeks old. I mean, that's when Doomcock puts something out there about something. It's probably a story that's already circulated in Dead in Hollywood. Okay, so when I hear stuff, I go, and it is really interesting to me how you can look at it and say, how old was this? Okay, now, for instance, Doomcock didn't know that Kathy Kennedy went on a 40-day vacation. I don't think any of those guys at the bigger channels understand what that means. All right? They don't understand. They don't understand really because they kind of ignored it. The firing of Peter Rice. Okay. They don't understand the significance of, like in Tales of the Jedi, Dave Filoni not adding the Lesbo to the end of to the last episode of Tales of the Jedi. They don't understand that. You're going to see changes coming. You know, I think a diversity chart might have been leaked to piss people off. Okay. You don't need diversity charts. What you need are good storytellers. All right. You need organic storytelling. You don't need, I mean, here's a diversity chart. The Last Jedi. That's a diversity chart. Okay. The Force Awakens is a diversity chart. All right. And I'm going to say this. The cast for the sequel trilogy was shitty. All right. They did not have great chemistry. Part of it, that's part of the problem. They didn't really, I think, like or care too much for what they were doing. And it's, it's one of those things where you're like, meh, you know? And that was part of the problem. Well, and you're right, just some other guy. But these guys probably got it from somebody. And the person letting them in on the merchandise issues, I trust that person. All right, those guys went out of their way to verify this guy. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't blame them. And you know, look, if the toy manufacturers are frustrated and Disney sees that they're not gonna be happy with what they have to market because they're not gonna be able to sell it, I think Disney will probably let it go. Okay, this is something right now that's kind of a test. X-Men movie, whatever they're doing with it, sounds like it's just in development. We just have to see. Okay, we just have to see. Anyway, you know, but all right, so let's talk about this. Everybody always talks about the sequel trilogy and then Darrell, have tunnel vision with The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi is not the issue. The Last Jedi is the child of the worst movie, which is The Force Awakens. Okay, do not tell me that you let that movie go. Don't. If anything needs to be retconned, it's either a retcon or a wiping the slate clean is that movie right there. Now, there are probably some people out there saying, well, they made so much money on it, they're not gonna. Really? And how much money didn't the second movie make because people walked out of The Force Awakens going, what the fuck did I just watch? TLJ made $1.5 billion less than it was supposed to. And it made $1 billion less than TFA did. The Rise of Skywalker made more than $1 billion less, or made less than $1 billion, more than $1 billion. All right. Got grossed more. How can I say this? Tross barely crossed over the $1 billion, and it was supposed to make $3 billion. And they don't, and it's not making, you're right, and it's not making any new money now. Disney's best option is to get rid of it. This is an alternate timeline. Here's the Thrawn trilogy. Okay. Now, let's talk about Kennedy. Now, how many of you guys were listening to Valiant and Pro and on Sunday? All right. Pro said there could be two reasons why Kennedy was told to shut the fuck up about movies. Because none of the things that she announces get past the development stage. They all get shit canned. And also is that whoever's coming in after her does not want those projects on his slate. Okay, think about it. Think about it. All right. Is the sequel trilogy going to go away? Well, going by certain people from certain YouTube channels, no, it's not. Everything leads to the sequel trilogy. First off, that is intellectually dishonest. Okay? That comes from people who don't put a lot of thought into things. That comes from people that go into an echo chamber and listen to the same shit and come out saying the same shit. They don't sit there and say, yeah, but. And I think everybody suffers from that in the fandom. Okay, there's no critical thinking. And when I hear people say that, it's like, they have to resolve this mess. They can't just leave it. Okay? The sequel trilogy is what drove the fandom apart. And it didn't break it in half, like everybody likes to say. It broke it like 80% of the fans walked away. Look at what is not selling now. Look at what Hasbro's not making anymore. Look at what doesn't sell in merchandise. Okay? It's really interesting to me seeing all of this and wondering out loud how people get to this without thinking, without understanding these movies aren't making any new money. They're not generating anything. Okay? I guarantee you, if you looked at the streaming numbers for the OT and the prequels, you'd see the OT up far ahead. Then you'd see the prequels, and then you'd probably see a bare minimum of people paying attention to the sequel trilogy on Disney Plus. And Solo as bad. No one wanted these. These they don't generate new fans. They didn't. And the so-called new fans they did generate were part and parcel of the reason why the old fans said, fuck this shit, we're done. Because no one wants to sit around with a bunch of people who hated what you loved and decided they want to see what you love destroyed in order to get their narcissistic validation. I mean, think about it. It's just, I mean, all right, let's talk about Andor. All right, I didn't do a review because first off, there's still a TH1138 or 37 or 1138. Still, I mean, they got what? Episode 10, 11, and 12. You got 3 episodes to get the fuck out of there. Okay. I'm starting not to care about Mon Mothma. All right. No Luthen Rawl. Bix gets tortured by Dedra. And Cyril is just a little fag. I mean, what a little fucking pussy. And then, I can't tell you what it means to be in your presence. What the fuck is that? What? I was creeped and grossed out. That he's like Jeffrey Dahmer. It's awful. I will continue to watch it to talk about it. But this is now a hate watch, okay? Because It's not good Star Wars. It's not. The people who hate Kenobi, the fucking morons out there, because I'm done. I'm done. Okay, I'm fucking done with them. How can you watch that last lightsaber fight with Anakin and not cry at the end? What kind of a fucking Star Wars fan are you? You're not. If you can't, it's just, I don't understand people anymore. But again, there are a bunch of people out there with bigger voices than mine who control the fucking narrative. Again, the day Kennedy announces she's retiring, that narrative will be taken away. And they will have to either start over or they're going to push back the goalposts. And I've already seen them doing that. All right? You know, it's like, you know, when you've got fanboys going, I want to see Disney burn to the ground. Well, it's not. It's stop being an idiot. Stop being childish. I don't care about your fifis. All right? Start being realistic. Disney's not going anywhere. Okay? They're not going to sell Lucasfilm. All right? Like, but I honestly think in 2018 that might have been an actual great idea because it would have saved them a lot of money. And they would have made something back from it. So stop attacking Disney like that because that's stupid, okay? Oh, I think, yeah, I don't either. I think honestly, they'll shift that and you'll see that happen. Okay, look, if you're walking into Lucasfilm, you're the new head of Lucasfilm, you gather Dave Filoni and the few people you trust together, and the first thing you say is, we're decanonizing the sequel trilogy. We're going for a reset. We have to. You have to announce it. You have to fucking announce it. You can't just sit there and be quiet about it. And it's it's quietly changing. Like at Disneyland, Mando and Grogu are out there. They're slowly shifting Galaxy's Edge from the sequel trilogy to Mandalorian timeline. Okay. See, there's already an opposite timeline. There's already, you know what I'm saying? And they're going to have to get moving with what, and look, again, the sequel trilogy is what is keeping people from, I think, appreciating Kenobi. When you get the big channels attacking the little girl who played Leia, like they did Jake Lloyd, there you go. Carlos, I think the person who takes over Lucasfilm is going to have to say that. And I think Disney's just going to have to accept they're going to have to do that. Okay? I mean, look, you can't have people walk into Galaxy's Edge and expecting to see Kylo Ren in the bestest ever all of a sudden disappear. And signs change. We are now no longer on Batuu. We're on Endor or, some other Mando planet, okay? We're on Tatooine. We're on whatever, okay? People will start asking why. You have to say, we're doing a reset, we're concentrating on the Mandoverse, and we're resetting the Skywalker saga. We're resetting everything. Because you're not going to be able to hide it. You can't just hide it. And Disney doesn't necessarily have to apologize. They can just announce they're resetting it. Okay? And that would be all the apology I need. All right, but again, even if they say they're resetting the Skywalker saga, translation, we're fixing what we broke, we're sorry, you'll see big channels pushing back the goalposts. Yeah, see, that's might happen, but I think ignoring it, that is, it's just, no, just, um, they're going to have to say something. Okay, look, David Zaslav said we're, oh, I don't, look, I think by that time, the woke friendly trades won't care. Look, here's the deal. You want to know how I know the ST's in trouble? When Polygon basically said it was a disaster. Polygon is a shill site. It is a woke trade, and it said it was a disaster. When you've got the Atlantic saying it was a disaster, Forbes saying it was a disaster, okay? That's when you know the sequel trilogy is probably on its way out. Now, you're going to have idiots and uneducated dunderheads saying that, leading right to the sequel trilogy. Ugh. And the way they say it, it's like, did you graduate high school? You know, you know, you don't, look, we live in an era where people that are only a little bit younger than me can't read tea leaves. They don't know how to watch a TV show or a movie. Okay. And I think that part of the issue with them is that they've watched too much Marvel. Okay. I don't like Marvel. All right. I don't like Marvel at all. Because of that very reason. Okay, I agree with Martin Scorsese. I agree with Francis Ford Coppola. Yeah, and I think that's what they're gonna call it. They'll call it the Kennedy era trilogy or something like that. Look, if the trades are turning against it, well, Carlos, you can say that, but again, it wouldn't be Disney per se saying it would be the new head of Lucasfilm saying that. We're resetting Star Wars. Look, there are no movies in the pipeline. Okay, let's talk about Damon Lindelof. Do you honestly think Disney was happy for that about that? Oh, we're doing it after the sequel trilogy. Translation, we're desperate to save a dumpster fire. And I think Lindelof went off reservation and said that on his own. Hence, that's why Cameron got a message from his contact saying there's an emergency meeting at Lucasfilm. The purge is starting. Okay. Disney said, fuck this shit. Alan Bergman went, okay. And even, oh, who was it? I think it was WW Pro saying, it's not even a good TV show, streaming show. You know? All right, so it's not going to happen. All right, they're not going to do it. I know several out there want it to happen so they have material and can do hate videos on it and make money. Because, hey, you know what? My attitude is this. If you're making videos based on hating a franchise you love, and you're not doing anything constructive to help it to be part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Okay? All right? And if a reset is announced, and I think that they should do that, I think that the new head of Lucasfilm should do it. What did I say? Kathleen Kennedy was told not to say anything more about new projects. A, because they never happen and the fans get upset. B, whoever's coming in after her doesn't want to be bothered with that shit and won't make it. Okay. When Pro said that, I was like, oh, I see now. Right. Anyway, I've been on for a half hour. I gotta go. My voice is going, and I want to do some stuff. So I'll see you guys around the galaxy. Behave, be safe. You know, I'll talk more about the earnings report tomorrow. Okay, and get ready for Midnight's Edge. All right. Talk to y'all. See you around the galaxy.